Shawl by Andrea Mowry, and it's called the Night Shift, and I'm very excited about it. It is mosaic knitting, and this is the copy of the Night Shift pattern by Andrea Mowry. And if you look here, she has this wonderful yarn. It is called Dream State. It's by Spin Cycle yarns or what have you. We do not carry that yarn, and that yarn, if you buy the yarn for this pattern, the yarn is actually $180. And I thought, what better project to pick and try and figure out if we can do this beautiful project and have something that's more economical. So I am testing this DK weight Zauberball Stark 6, and I thought I would use it for the actual pattern. And it takes one ball to do the shawl that I've been working on, and you can see I still have a lot left, so I'm going to try and use up as much yarn as I can. And this yarn is made in Germany, and if you're familiar with the regular Zauberball Crazy, it's very similar to that, except for it's a little bit thicker. So what I did with mine is I used a number 7 needle in the pattern for this Night Shift. It calls for a number 8 needle, and so I used a lighter weight yarn, a DK weight, instead of a worsted weight. And so I went down 1 needle size. Now, one thing that I wanted to remind all of you when you're doing these slip stitch patterns or mosaic knitting, it can be a little bit tight. It can get tight. So when in doubt, go up 1 needle size. And if you're knitting this project, Night Shift, and you find that it's stiff, take it out and start over and get a larger needle, because you can only block so much out. If you have a brick, when you start blocking, you will very likely have a very stiff project when you're done as well. So on this Dream State, Jim, I wanted to hold it up.
Oh, yeah. Just a couple people wanted to say hi. They're all checking in.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
So
it's so wonderful to have you here, and I'm so excited about this Night Shift pattern. I just wanted to show you a few things about it and how much I'm enjoying knitting it. And I love using this Stark 6. You know how I always test products before I bring them in, and this is a rather big test that I'm doing for this Stark 6, and I'm enjoying it very much. And it is a wonderful yarn. It seems a little light for compared to some of the other DK yarns. So that's one thing to keep in mind, but the quality of it is very wonderful, and I like the coloration of the actual yarn. And so these striping pattern is actually done with the yarn. The yarn does it itself. And then in between these striping patterns, you'll see the little pearl bumps, and that was done with the Ultra Alpaca. This is called Ultra Alpaca Light. It's a 50-50 blend of alpaca and wool. And this is by Baracco. It's a wonderful product, and I used that in between. This is considered a sport weight yarn, but it's kind of a lofty sport weight. So the Stark 6 was a lighter DK weight, and so this lofty sport weight and the light DK weight worked very well together. And I just used odds and ends that I already had, and I also put in a little bit of the Swino. So this is the actual prize for this week, and you guys can help me choose which colorations you would like. So it's 3 skeins in the neutral grays, and then or the 3 skeins in this nice pinky tones, mauve tones. So you tell me which ones that you like for the prize for this week, and we can give that out to our winner.
So just put gray or mauve.
Yes, and the wonderful thing about this is to enter to win, all you have to do is post comments in the comment section, let us know what you're working on, maybe share with your buddies, and let us know where you're from so that we can, all enjoy this journey together. Knitting is wonderful, so we like sharing with others and learning from each other as well. And don't forget to push that like button. So that's great. And don't forget to share with your friends. So that's that. And then, so if you look here at my yarns here, I just used a mishmash of stuff that I already had at home. And so I have a couple balls here of the Ultra Alpaca Light, and that's these two, the tan and the greenish blue. And then this is leftover Swino that I have, and that is by Haiku, and it is an 80-20 blend of merino and bamboo. It's an awesome yarn, and you can use it for all kinds of things. It's fabulous yarn. And this was just leftover tensing that I had from a yarn that is no longer being made, but it's a beautiful yarn too. So you can see the bumps in here, and what I did is I just went light to darker to darker to darker, and then I'm not sure what I'll do after that. But I'm looking at my shawl, and Andrea Mowry's finished shawl, the dimensions are supposed to be 65 inches 65 inches this way by 30, did she say 35 inches? Oh, by 31 inches at the center depth. And if you measure mine, I have, even though this is a lighter weight yarn, I am on my 8th repeat. She calls for 9 repeats. And I am close to 37 inches. And then, oh, sorry, the depth of it is actually right around 29 inches. So I'm getting close, but I want to use all my yarn. And this seems just a little bit small to me. And I did block it just a little bit, not aggressively at all, but I did block it a little bit. And I'm going to try and use as much yarn as I can with my project. See, I still have a lot of yarn left of this Zauber ball. And so I'm going to keep using it and see if it gets too big, then I'll go ahead and bind off. And they use the I-cord bind off, which I think is fantastic. One thing I wanted to mention this has 3-stitch slip stitch edge on it. And when you're doing your slip stitch edge, don't forget to give yourself plenty of room. Give yourself extra space for those stitches. It may seem like it's going to be sloppy, but if you don't get the stretch to be able to block it out. Mine, I gave a bunch of extra stretch, and you can see how uniform and straight it looks. It looks absolutely fine if you give yourself extra stretch. So make sure on that you give yourself extra room so that you don't have something that's sucked in where those slip stitch edges. You don't want that to happen because it makes your shawl a little more difficult to block and maybe not look quite as beautiful as it could if you didn't do that. Another thing on her pattern, she has basically, it's a 40 row repeat, and this is a pad of paper that I've been using to keep track of my rows for her. So she'll go 1 through 8, you knit, and then it says repeat rows 1 through 8. So I put my little parentheses around here, and then I put 1 through 8. And I'm just doing these little tick marks as I'm going along. So I'm just starting my 8th repeat of the pattern. Now right here it'll say repeat 1 through 4 again. And then it goes back to regular knitting. And then it says repeat rows 23 and 24. So when I was doing this pattern and I did not have this written out, I would easily lose track of where I was because I would be trying to move my sticky notes around and put tick marks. But after you have about 4 tick marks, you're like, what tick marks should I be paying attention to? And so I would get all fouled up and go, where am I? And so this was the way that I could actually knit the project and keep track of everything and never get off my pattern. Now, another thing that I did is when you're knitting with 2 yarns and you're slipping and stitches, etc., and you put your work down, you may have 1 yarn on each side of your work. Well, you look at it and you're in a hurry, you're like, where am I supposed to knit? There's yarns on both sides. It's hard to tell, right? So what I do for mine is I put this all on 1 needle, but I actually stopped at the beginning of my row number 1, and I have it sitting right there so that I know that I'm working with this brown yarn. I'm not stopping at the beginning or the end of the very end of a row. I'm not stopping there because it makes it hard for me to tell which yarn to pick up and work with. What I'm doing is starting another row and then leaving it there with the start. So I go, oh, that's where my working yarn is, and then I don't get fouled up and have to try and figure out where I'm at. So that was another thing that helped me. Yes, Jim?
A bunch more people joined in from
Awesome.
the East Coast, Midwest, Minnesota,
It's so nice
Chicago,
to have all of you here.
Florida.
And well, I love this Night Shift Shawl pattern, and Andrea Mowry shows us with her yarn where she has 6 different skeins of her yarn that she's using, and it is beautiful. It is called Dream State. I think it's by Spin Cycle or something like that, Dream State. And it's really, really nice. Yeah, Spin Cycle yarns, and it's Dream State. The problem with that, it's like $31 a skein, and then by the time you buy your 6 skeins, you have to pay tax, and you have to buy the pattern. It's a super, super expensive shawl to make, even though it's beautiful.
How much is it?
And well, for the kit, it's $180, and I don't know if that comes with the pattern or not. I hope that it does for that. But it's so expensive that most of us, for $180, we would not see the benefit of making something quite so expensive unless we have endless finances for our yarn. We would not be able to do that. So I'm kind of talking today about how we can make this Night Shift shawl and make it more economical. And so I am testing this Zobber Ball Stark 6 in the DK weight, and I'm using just one skein that it's like $31. And then how I used a little bit of this Ultra Alpaca Light and my leftovers that I had at home in a DK weight and put it with this, and was able to make the whole shawl for right around $32. So it's a great cost savings, and it still looks quite beautiful. I mean, it's nice. So this is fantastic. And then I wanted to show you something. When I was talking to my friend Tara, who happens to work here at Alpaca Direct, she said that she kind of had a hard time starting the shawl. And so I thought I would do the setup rows of Night Shift and kind of show you how to get that slip stitch edge started. I thought maybe that might help some of you that are getting stuck on this. And then
before you start, let me say one other thing.
Sure.
Much more people are joining in.
Good morning.
They said that buys a lot of yarn for $180.
Oh, it buys a lot of yarn for $180. I could not believe. I mean, it's beautiful and everything. Oh, there is also another plus of doing it the way that I'm talking about, and you have so many less ends to weave in. So the yarn does the patterning for you, the stripes for you, and you have way less ends to weave in. It's so much easier to finish. So for those of you who have a problem with your finish work or don't like weaving in ends, this is another reason to use it. Also, I wanted to put this concentric in front of you. Now, I haven't done the Dream State in this yarn, but guess what this yarn is? It's 100% alpaca, and it has long colorways, and it's a worsted weight. So.
And we just put it on sale today.
It's on sale today?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, it's on sale today. I love sales. That's awesome. That's an extra, extra, extra bonus. And the fantastic part about this is, look, there's 4 different colorways in this green one. There's a lot of different colorways, and all of them have 4 different colors. Isn't that cool? And you could possibly do this for Dream State and get something beautiful and have it made out of alpaca, just in case you were thinking that might work for you. And I know that you could do this shawl in just one skein, because I'm sitting here, it's a similar yardage to my Stark 6, and look how much I have. And I still have this much yarn left. So you could possibly do it in this concentric. Now the concentric's a little bit more expensive. It's right around the $40 range, right, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
But having it on sale is pretty nice. And that might make a pretty project too, especially if you had some odds and ends to do these little pearl bumps in the background or what have you. I don't know. You could look at it.
Oh, I had one request.
Yes.
Since it's our anniversary this week.
Yay.
See if they want to, if anyone wants to guess how many years we've been married, and wish you happy anniversary.
Yay. We've been together, I'll give you a little hint. We've been together most of our lives. We've kind of grown up together. Actually, we met in college at Cal State Hayward, and I was just starting, and Jim was in his senior year of college, and I was going through the nursing program there. So that is how we met, and we've been together a long time. So if you can guess, that's awesome. We've been together quite a while, I will tell you that. So let's take a look at this cast on, and then I'll be talking about who won the prize from last week. And last week we had Sueno in these 2 colorways, and which one was the lucky winner, Jim?
A dark blue.
The dark blue was the lucky winner. So the winner of last week's will get this Sueno worsted, and it's in the tonal colorway. Fantastic yarn, 80-20 blend of merino and bamboo. It's new to us, so we're excited about that yarn. All right, let's take a look at our night shift and see if we can do this setup here. All right, and another thing I wanted to mention is with my night shift, I had color A was my slip stitch color, and that was, sorry Jim, that was this multicolored, and it stayed color A throughout. Now color B, which started with my light tan color, was the color that changed to my leftovers. That was the pearl bump color, right? So we have using color A, let's see if I can find an end here without too much of a mess. 1 second here. Takes me a minute to find the end. And I'm also using these wonderful Chow-Goo needles, and we're looking at the interchangeable needles, and I have a little concern about it, and let me tell you what the concern is with these Chow-Goos. First, I wanted to show you something. Wait 1 second, Jim. I gotta go grab something. I gotta show him something. Let me put that there so I don't lose my tail. So with the Chow-Goo nails, I wanted to show you just a little tiny comparison. We had a customer say that Chow-Goo needle cords don't have memory, right? So I wanted to show you what we're talking about when we're talking about memory versus no memory. So here's a Chow-Goo needle. Do you see how it's nice and flat? The cord is really flat. Here's our Addy cord. And this is not from being folded. It'll be like that. Now watch me set it down. Now watch this one. Isn't that interesting? No memory, memory. So what this means for you when you're knitting along is sometimes the cords will bend in a funny way, and you'll have to kind of push it out of your way. You'll have to maneuver it to get it to behave. Where with these Chow-Goo needles, that never happens because there's no memory in it. Straight out of the package, they're like this. This is a brand new needle. Now, back to what I was talking about, we're testing these needles. They have, they're interchangeables, and they have that cord, the different cords on there. My concern is with the Chow-Goo, the way they've decided it to make these is they have small cords, medium cords, and large cords. And the small cords don't fit on the medium-sized needles. The medium cords don't fit on the small or the large size. And they have, it'll say right here on the side of the cord right there. Do you see right there? It says small. And I'm concerned that people are going to go traveling and they're going to bring the wrong cord size with them, and then they won't have a cord for the needles that they need to knit with. It's just a concern that I have. So if you guys have any thoughts on that, if you can let me know what you think about that. And that's one concern that I have before I pick up these needles. I'm just thinking about that, and I'm worried about that. So don't mind my purls and knits here, because my cast on, I actually changed the direction of my I-cord edge, but I don't want to bother you with that. So we are going to cast on 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right? Then our setup row. I always like to do pink for the beginning of a right-sided row, and I use these silly little hair bands. But we sell stitch markers here at Alpaca Direct that are just fine as well. All right, so for the first setup row, it says knit 3 and then slip 3 with yarn in front. So you take your working yarn and you would knit 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to put my stitch marker on and then slip 3 with your yarn in front. Okay? Then grab my working yarn, get my tail out of the way. We're going to do knit 1, 2, 3. Then we have a make one right. So we grab the running thread, put that on the top. You see the V there? Make one right, and then slip 3 with the yarn in front is what the pattern calls for. Don't mind my extra notes because I don't want to teach you to do things wrong. I want you to learn the way that the pattern has instructed you. I always make everything different, as you know. And so knit 1. Oops, I got a little strand there. 2 and 3. And then we have a, and 1 second. Oh, knit 3, make 1 right. And we're just increasing here. And there you go. And oops, 1 second, Jim. I didn't need to make 1 right. I got on the wrong row. I'm on knit 3, purl 1, and slip 3. Knit 3, purl 1, and then slip 3 with yarn in front. I'm catching the yarn in the back of my work here. And then we have another increase, which is a knit 1, 2, 3, and then I have put it up on the needle and make 1 right and knit to the last 3 stitches, got it, and slip 3 with yarn in front. And let me do 1 more row.
So what are you doing there?
We're casting on for our actual shawl. Tara had said that she had a little bit of a problem casting on and knitting it. So I'm just showing her that. And then this one is purl to the last 3 stitches. And then we purl to last and slip 3 with yarn in front. And what it's doing is it's making your I-cord edge on one side, and then here's your other edge, slip stitch edge. And that's all you do. Repeat rows 3 and 4 3 more times until you have 11 more stitches, and then you'll see this I-cord edge begin to develop. And I'll show you on my pattern over there so you can see what it looks like. But it's that easy, and that's how you cast on. So I hope this helps you cast on for your night shift shawl. And it is a super easy slip stitch pattern. The big thing that I want you to remember when you're working on this shawl and you're trying to decide what needles that you're going to use for the night shift, make sure that you use a little larger size needle. Don't go too small. If your fabric is super stiff when you're knitting it, that is common in slip stitch patterns. Go up a needle size, take it out. You can get a little stiffness out by blocking, but you can't completely fix it. If it's a board when you block it, it's probably going to be a board after you're done blocking it. No matter how you pull it and stretch it, it's still going to be super stiff. So if you look at this project that I have here, I have this on a number 7 needle for a DK weight yarn. Here's my I-cord edge. Right here is where I was showing you how you cast on. So that's how you do that. That's the I-cord edge that you're making when you cast on. But it's super simple. All you do is you're slipping the stitches with the yarn either in the front or the back, depending on which side you're knitting. And it makes a beautiful, finished, lovely edge.
Why don't you hold it up so they can see it kind of drapes?
Yes, of course. So if I was going to wear this, see how pretty it is? My needles are kind of in the way, but it's really pretty. I'm looking forward to finishing it so I can put it here in the shop and encourage other people to make it because it's a fantastic pattern. So, and it is really mosaic knitting. All it is slipping stitches, needle tip to needle tip, from the left hand needle over to the right hand needle in a certain pattern. And it's super easy to do it and super fun. Mosaic knitting there's nothing to it at all. So let's get back to our winner. We had a winner for this week, right? And let's see if we can find our winner. Let's look right here. Oh, Linda wins. Weyns. And Linda won. So I know. Worsted tonal. Congratulations, Linda. It's wonderful. I'm so glad that you won this yarn. So soft. So this is the prize. All you have to do is get in touch with us. Let us know what your shipping address is, and we can send it out in the mail to you. That's fantastic. And for those of you for this week who would like to help me to choose the colors for the prize this week, this is Ultra Alpaca Light, and it would be great background colors for your Night Shift Shawl if you decided to do that. And this would be plenty of yarn, I think, for the whole shawl for the background colors. And it is wonderful because it's 144 yards. Oh yeah, you would have lots of yarn. So you let me know. Let's go ahead and have you, do you like these mauve tones or do you like gray? You choose, and we'll send this for the price for next week. And this Night Shift is a great pattern. It doesn't have to be expensive. You can make this beautiful shawl and it doesn't have to be expensive. It can be right around the $30 to $40 range. Doesn't have to be an $180 project. It can be less expensive and it's super, super fun.
Hey, there was a few guesses on our number of years we've been married.
Oh yes, go ahead. I want to hear.
Well, a bunch of them flew by, so I saw some.
It's okay. What were they?
So there was 26. I saw.
Oh, that's close.
27, 30.
Close.
It's more.
Yep, it's more than that. Yeah.
So,
we've been together most of our lives. We've kind of grown up together.
So it's 33 years.
Yes, it's 33 years this week. Oh my goodness. Time flies when you're having fun. That's why you need to hurry up and have fun, right? Because time just goes by. It seems every year it goes by a little faster. But it's fantastic, and I am so grateful to be married to my wonderful husband. I don't know if all of you are blessed to have such a wonderful husband like I do, but he is fantastic, and I'm happy to have him with me. He's my partner in crime. So this next week, we are going to be talking about something baby. I'm having a hard time deciding if you guys have any ideas about baby things that you want to talk about. I'm thinking something in crochet possibly and something in knitting, so we'll have to see how that works. And I have another, it's called Pima Reno, and it's by Plymouth Yarn Company, and it is a Pima cotton merino blend yarn that I'm going to be testing, and I want to make something with that yarn. And then I'll probably use something that we have here in the shop just because it's handy and we have lots of nice yarn. So I'll do that too. And then I think that was it. Let me just make sure that I went through everything with you on how I made my shawl. I talked about the different yarns and looking for the long color changes to make it work with this project. So having long color changes such as these two guys or this one. I kind of like this one because it has more of a tweed. It has the multi-stranded different colored yarns in there. And I thought that maybe the colorways would get too short when I got to the top, that they would be too short, but they still look pretty good. I'm actually pleased. I thought I might have a problem with that, but I don't think I'm going to. I think it's going to be beautiful. So I'm really excited about that. And I think I pretty much covered everything else. Linda, congratulations again for your prize that you won. And I hope you guys all have a great week. I know it's beautiful outside here. We may get up to 60 degrees this week. Can you believe it? I mean, just not too long ago, we were almost at 0 in snow, freezing cold. And now I can almost run outside. I'm so excited. I'm looking outside going, I can run again and I don't have to worry about falling on ice. So that is fantastic. So I am looking forward to a little spring weather. You guys have a great week. You take care of yourselves. And next week we're going to be talking about stuff for baby. So get ready. We'll be here 9:30 a.m. next week.